everyone and welcome back to another video. I am so excited to be back with part 2 of 19 things that I learnt by 19. I've had so much positive feedback from that first part, so if you haven't watched it, you can go and do that. But for everyone who's been able to relate to any points or has been able to take inspiration from them, I am so happy and I love hearing back from you. So let me know, we are on this journey together. I think that the first video was a lot more about things that I've learnt within my professional journey, and this second half has a lot more personal points, and I'm really excited to get into that with you. So without further ado, let's jump in. Point number 1, you will find your tribe. Mofi 5 years ago would have told you, I'm never going to find friends who get me. It's not happening. I give up. I'm done. I will go through life this way. Mofi of today is finding her tribe. Now, not everyone will like you. That is a given. And not everyone will understand you. That takes time. But as you evolve into your authentic self, as you step out confidently, and as you embrace who you really are, you will attract people who get it and who are similar and who have differences that gel with some of your differences, and that is the most beautiful thing ever. So if you are in kind of like that phase that Mofi was 5 years ago of feeling like you're never going to find your people, they are out there. Even being logical, like there are millions of people in the world. I'm sorry, let's just cut it right there. I wish that I thought that way back then of like, come on, no, you live in this bubble, you only know a few people and you haven't explored the world yet. There will become a chance where you see the world and you see that there are so many people in it. There are millions of people, and within that millions of people there are your people. So you will find your tribe. Okay, point number 2, and of course we have to let it be clear and let it be known that the productivity method is making an appearance. This book is getting really tatty, so I got another one. Before we derail a bit too much, point number 2, you don't need to tell everybody everything. I feel as though my best kept secrets have been my most successful, and I want to make it really clear. There are things that you need to tell people. I'm not saying let's gatekeep. I'm not saying let's walk on eggshells and be really secretive, but the saying is you don't need to tell temporary people permanent things or really important things about your life, because people come in seasons and they come in different shapes and sizes, and I think it's so important to offer vulnerability to the right people and at the right time. Everyone isn't that person for you, and I have just learned that sometimes keeping things in that I can share with, my support system in that circle and family, they can know, but not everyone needs to know, because sometimes people don't have the best interests at heart, and this is unfortunately one of the negative sides, but also sometimes people may not react in the way that you intended. And I think that to protect yourself from that, the best thing to do is to keep it to yourself. One thing that I learned over time is sometimes when you say things, even like things that are really offhandish that could be of potential importance to you, once you say them, we are conditioning ourselves to think that we've done them in an extent, or rather to an extent, and we get comfortable and complacent. So sometimes kind of keeping something in and just telling those people who will hold you accountable to get it done and then doing it can be so much better than telling the world your business and no good coming from it. Tell your story at the right time, and that takes time and learning, but you don't need to tell everyone everything. Protect your peace and protect those things that are really sentimental to you, that only a few people should be privileged to know and have access to. Okay, point number 3, it doesn't have to be perfect. I live by this so much more now because I know it. With anything that I do, and I think this is really common for most people, we want it to be perfect. We want it to be the best that it can be. And sometimes we have to just do it, start it, say it's done, here it is, my first draft, you can have a look and put it out into the world. And I think that the fact I now understand that it doesn't always have to be perfect helps with the progression of striving for perfection. And no one's saying that we get it every time, but when you put something out there and when you start something, even if it's not what the end product you desire it to be is like, then you will be so much more happy with the feedback that you get and the journey that's unfolding, instead of being really strict and tedious about all the small details and putting so much into something that you actually never release into the world. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I think that sometimes to get over that feeling, you have to just do it and you have to do it scared. And that may not feel great at times, but once you do, it gets so much better. It really, really does. Okay, let us move on to the next point. Point number 4. I feel as though I've learnt this the hard way. There is always a time and a place. Now, as I have stepped into the business world, I admittedly am sometimes so consumed in it. And of late, I always hear, or rather notice, friends' remarks about me. Yesterday in the kitchen in my flat, we were talking about relationships and someone was like, "Mofi, you're too professional to have a crush." I was like, ugh. So I'm not human, so I'm not allowed to have emotions or things like that. And it was obviously an offhandish comment, but we kind of got to the end of it. And it made me just kind of reflect and think, I have worked on myself so much, and I know coming across as too serious is something that I really am trying to not do. And I definitely have my goofy side. Trust me, Michelle was in this room yesterday and they heard me laugh very loud for the first time, my neighbors. I do have that goofy side, but I reflected on why may they think that of me, and is it because I am not as relaxed and goofy like in the flat space? And if so, I need to make sure that I am not bringing like my work self to this home, but I'm bringing my youngest sibling vibe, my I am friends to my neighbors vibe, my I am on your course vibe, my we could be like on this journey of, you know, friendship for many years and you can know that side of me, but here is that other side of me too vibe. So long-winded. I have learnt the hard way that you need to realize people are humans. And I remember someone told me that there was a party that they were throwing for someone, and the type of people there, all really great achievers, high achievers, are kind of coming together. And a lot of the people in attendance knew one another, but there are kind of like a few who didn't. And at that party, the vibe is to have fun and relax. But this person who'd kind of just stepped into the space was like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" And, you know, kind of asking all of the wrong questions at the wrong time. And it really pissed those people off, because it's like, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders on my day-to-day, and I've come into this safe space with people that I can relax with and have fun and let loose and not have to talk about these work things, but you've brought it into that space. I think that as an example just shows that there is a time and a place to have certain conversations. Okay, point number 5. This is my favorite. The more times you fall, the faster you learn to get back up. My greatest skill at the moment that I would state I have is, if I have a bad day, if anything negative comes to pass, I need 24 hours and I'm back. That's it. I've gotten to that stage because this is how I think about it. And it's taken a long time to get here. But when I'm upset and it's taken me a week to get over whatever it is, what is that thing that I do at the end of the week that gets me back to where I need to be? And why can't I start doing that immediately? When you're sad, you're not meant to be thinking logically, to be honest. But I just think about, how can we reduce that pain? That's just how it works for me. And that is my greatest skill, and probably why I'm able to get so many things done now at a faster pace and at a more, you know, convenient and efficient rate. But I'm not afraid to fall. I use the example of being sad as, you know, an example, but if we kind of look at it from a different lens, I'm not afraid to fall and I'm not afraid to fail, because risks need to be taken. Being young definitely gives me that confidence, because I feel as though I have so much time, and I know I do, and at the same time I know I don't. But if you keep trying new things, you're going to learn from any of those mistakes or failures or pieces of advice people have given you and it's not quite gone your way. You can take all of those things and you can then apply it as you try another risky venture, as you try a new method. And what you'll find is, every time you do these things, you are getting better and you are learning new skills. And that's the whole point of trying and being unafraid to fail, which the word is what it is, and I don't take most failures as failures. They are just learning curves. You will be able to fail more confidently, take risks more confidently, experiment more confidently, because you're not like, "Oh, this is all gonna go so wrong," but you're like, okay, when the results come to me, I'm gonna take them all, I'm gonna become friends with them, and I'm gonna learn and use them in my future ventures, my future next steps, my future new tries. And it's just such freeing feeling. I won't say think like you can't fail in anything, because then there's that line of ignorance, but be delusional. Do it. Just be like, there is nothing stopping you. There is no failure. We have that safety net and bubble of being young to feel that way. And so I will definitely say that is something I'm so proud of as a skill, and that I've learned and that sticks with me. And who knows, maybe it will go from 24 hours to 2. I think it's okay to be sad sometimes. 24 hours is okay for now. It's okay for now. Okay, point number 6. Change is inevitable, period. I am not the same as I was yesterday, and you are not going to be the same as you are now tomorrow, because we will get older, we will live in new experiences, we will meet new people, and our thoughts will evolve, our way of life will evolve, our palette will evolve, our likes and dislikes will evolve. If I'm changing, people around me are changing, and that naturally means my environment will change, my aspirations may change. There are so many factors, but having a mentality and mindset that accepts that change is coming might just help prepare you for it a bit better. It's inevitable, and I hope you take it with open arms. I hope you nurture it and you explore it and you enjoy the process, the learnings, the experiences that happen through change. Change can be good, and that is what I really want you to know through my point of change is inevitable. Okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. Point number 7. Oh my gosh, I've learnt this, but I'm still trying to practice it, okay? Point number 7 is start being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Let me tell myself, not myself, let me tell on myself. I was at an event last week and it was hosted by Translate Culture. If you don't know about them, I feel like they are such an amazing organization uplifting Black founders, and you should check it out. But I was in a really cool event that was hosted by Meta, and it was led by Maz, the owner, and Elfried Samba, who spoke about storytelling, and it was amazing. It was amazing. But I was in that room, and me, who is talking to you across the camera, was sat in my chair, and I had no intention of speaking to anybody. I was so scared. I don't know why I was scared, like that's really, really ridiculous. But there are certain rooms where I'm like, I'll network, I'll talk to people. It was not on my agenda to say a peep. And my mentor, Andy, was there. Thank God, Andy, you were heaven sent. And I saw him and I gave him a hug, and it was really nice to catch up. I look forward to seeing you soon. And he was kind of like, oh, okay, you're gonna start speaking to people. And me, the child, like, it was so embarrassing. I just started laughing to him saying no. I'm gonna stay here and not speak to anyone. And he was very much like, I know everyone in the room, come, let's network. And he said it in a very, you know, like reassuring way. It was not kind of like, get up, you're networking. It was very welcoming, and there was no pressure or strings attached. And regardless of if I wanted to act on, you know, his words of encouragement, I did the 3, 2, 1, and I was like, okay, sit, drink your water, 3, 2, 1, get up and go and find him. And I did, and I felt so uncomfortable doing it. But at the end of that, I was able to have conversations with amazing women, and I am still in contact with 3 out of 4 of the women that I spoke to that day who were doing such amazing things. I'm going to the dance class of one of them, and I'm so excited because that's something I've been wanting to do forever. I've had to step out and do something that made me feel so uncomfortable, and I'm so happy with what that has reaped and what that is going to be able to provide long term. But it's hard being uncomfortable, and it's not going to get any easier unless you start doing it more and more. And so I personally am going to pledge to make sure that even when I'm in rooms like the one I was in and I felt too scared to get up and speak to someone, if it's one person, I will do it. Putting yourself out there, if that be, you know, to someone face to face, to somebody online, in whatever shape, size or form, I just want you to know that no one ever finds it easy. And even the people you think are doing it and are so confident, they felt that same way that you were feeling too. So keep trying and just know that it's normal to feel uncomfortable, but you've got to start, and it's going to become the new comfortable later. So get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. Okie dokie. Let's get on to point number 8. I love this point. Collaboration over competition, always. It's what's written on the tin. I don't understand people who gatekeep. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I understand there are certain things that you are to keep secret because you're entitled to it. But when you have a community of people, of friends, of family, of audience, and you're like, I genuinely want to help you in XYZ, but you gatekeep the tricks of the trade, it's a bit ridiculous. And what I think is best to overcome that is, instead of going forward and doing anything with like a, I'm gonna compete and come out on top mentality, there are some times where it's a competition, you want to win, we will win. But most times it's a matter of, how do we get to this end goal that we all want to reach faster and sustainably? Well, most of the time, 2 heads are better than 1. So when you work with other people and when you collaborate, you're able to achieve that goal. I work in the education space, and how on earth are we going to change the education curriculum or improve it or add anything that's really going to change the lives of children if it's a one man or one woman or one person battle? It's impossible. And that is like with most things. Making a real impact and making a real change cannot be done alone. Collaboration will be the stepping stone for that change, and I can accept that. I hope you can accept it. Working with people, it's so amazing because there are some things that you just don't think of, and for someone who's quite an analytical thinker, working with creatives is so uplifting because our ideas are just kind of being thrown onto the table, and then sometimes there are clashes, but sometimes there are moments where we've just lit a spark flame that's so extraordinary. And what I want you to know is, we often see things as competition because we think that there's only room for one. There will always be room for more than one. I've got an iPhone. I bet you many of you have an Android or one of the like really cool Korean phones. I don't even know a brand, this is so bad. Like Huawei, I don't know where that's from, but you get my point. We all have different types, and that's because there is room in the market for them. People will always tell you that a market is saturated, but I promise you tomorrow somebody new will step into it. So there is space and there is time and there is room. So why don't you just work with different people and open those doors and those connections and do it together? Preach! Sorry, I felt that one. I felt that. This is sad. No, we're on my last point. Point number 9. Okay. Point number 9, you must learn to forgive yourself. You can stop there. Wow, I learned that at 19? I did, didn't I? Wow. Forgiveness is such an important part of life. It is the first step of being able to move on. You need to be able to identify, you need to be able to forgive, and then you need to be able to give yourself grace as you get through that period of whatever's next. And for someone who is a high academic achiever, I know exactly why I wrote this and what I thought about, and who didn't achieve the academic grades, for instance, that they had set out to do since the age of 13. Oh my goodness, when I was working at Kumon, if you spoke to me, I'm gonna get straight A stars, I'm gonna get 4 A stars, and then I'm going to Oxford to study maths and computer science. It was scripted. It was ingrained in my skin, and I'm sure I would have loved to go on that journey. It's such a great aspiration I had, and I know exactly why I had those thoughts and minds, and I'm at Royal Holloway now. Love it. My point is, I'm not there. My point is, as we spoke about earlier, things change, and because I didn't get those grades or because I didn't achieve those things that a former version of myself had said, this is what's gonna make you happy, this is what you need. Well, I know I've gone through an emotional roller coaster, and to be able to get on the other side of that, I've had to learn to forgive myself. I've had to learn to forgive myself for being so ambitious and not thinking about the other things that will change along the way, and as they do change, understanding that that's okay. I've had to forgive myself for the friendships that haven't gone to plan, for the opportunities that I don't feel like I fully took up space in. And as soon as you start forgiving yourself for whatever it may be and giving yourself grace along what will be such a bright future journey ahead, until you start, no matter how far across you get with the other things, there will be a feeling, there will be a part of that past that is still stuck with you because you haven't released it yet. We have come to the end. We have come to the end of 19 things that I've learnt by 19. And don't worry, there are so many more. I've really loved sitting down and talking to you about these things. Listen to it today, come back to it tomorrow, and just be graceful with yourself as you go on this journey. But I am telling you, these are 19 things that you need to know, and I really want to know how they change your life, because I know and I promise that they will. See you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed, because I did! I had so much fun. I need to journal more. I need to actually keep going. That's my thing. It doesn't have to be perfect, eh?